This meeting is now being recorded. Let's have a round of applause, everyone. You can show that through icons or you could actually clap. And I would like maximum videos on. Welcome to meeting number 523 of Blue Quest Toastmasters, one of the oldest corporate clubs in District 41 in Gurgaon, and now becoming on its way to become a community club or and a hybrid club. At the beginning, I will state the Toastmasters mission statement. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop their communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. I would also like to remind you that Toastmasters International's core values are integrity, respect, service, and excellence. And there is a reason that integrity comes before everything else, because it is from integrity that the rest of the values flow. You are now inside the code of conduct of a Toastmasters meeting, and as such, a few rules apply to you. Rule number one: please keep your cameras on, your audios off, and your smiles on. Which reminds me that I also have to smile. But please ensure that your noise making devices are on mute. I know that you are muted yourself, but you do not want your phone to be ringing in the middle of you giving a table topic or your speech. So please double check. I'll give you about 10 seconds for that. Please also be advised that any unparliamentary behavior may result in your removal from this room, and we may not be able to accommodate you again in our meetings. We would encourage you to use these emoticons to register your applause in case you do not want to come on video. However, we would love to have you on video. Speaking about video, once again reiterating, please keep your videos on and audio off. Speak only when you are asked to speak. Last but not the least, this is supposed to be a fun meeting. Let's have fun. And speaking of having fun, I am going to call on stage one of the persons who comes across as very serious, but you ask him to do a Toastmaster of the Day meeting with humor as the theme, and this guy can have you in splits. You may not believe it, but trust me, if I can smile, he can make you laugh. So it is with it is with a great deal of honor, I would like to introduce our presiding officer, Toastmaster Kapil Kakkar. Let's have a huge round of applause for him. And maybe a couple of hoots. Ladies, he's not single.
Thank you, Rupinder. I excuse me. I welcome all the guests and the member in our meeting number 523. And before we start, I would like to have a couple of announcements. One is about TLI2. So this is a request to executive committee member who have not completed their TLI2 training. Please do that ASAP, because one of the training is coming up on Sunday, and then probably we have two more. So feel free to attend whichever is convenient to you. And then we have another announcement is regarding the access to free pathways. So members who were part of Blue Quest before January, they can access free path. Joita, or probably I can also share that email to you. So please do that. Please leverage this benefit. Now, also, Joita, do you want to tell us about area contest? Because you were seeking some nomination or probably some role players, or you already have that?
Yes, hello everyone. So I got one message from our area director, Vishaka. She requested that if we can get some role players from our club, that would be grateful. Then, so I have mentioned the role player details there. That is timer. So if you are interested, then you can contact Vishaka there. We are having the area contest for ISC, that is on 27th of February. So,
Okay.
and you can also cheer us there.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you. Over to you,
I-
Kapil.
Thank you. And I see a few guests in our meeting today, so I welcome them again. So Joyce, could we have a quick intro from your end? Josie? A quick introduction from your side.
I'm sorry, what do you ask?
I'm saying if you could introduce yourself.
Okay, all right. My name is Jyoti for all of you. In the US, Josie, but in India, it's Jyoti. And I belong to the Speak Easy in Wisconsin along with Kathy. And I am an honor to be invited to your meeting. Thank you. Originally, I was born and raised in Mexico.
Thank you. Kathy?
Pleasure to be here. I'm also from Wisconsin in the USA, and I've been an active Toastmaster for more than 20 years, and I have earned 6 TTM awards to date. And I have a long history of serving as a club officer and being a trainer. And it's a pleasure to be here in India with you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Welcome. Naveen, you are no stranger to us, but still we would like to hear from you.
Good morning, dear friends. This is Naveen Parwal, and as you can see from my background, I'm currently in Singapore and based in Singapore as well. And it's a pleasure to attend the meeting in the mornings over here and to meet all my friends. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Naveen. Sherman? Sherman, can you hear us?
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Actually, I just joined. I'm in a small meeting with my company, and I want to listen to what the speakers and give some comments after the meeting. So I'm a Toastmaster of last 10 years, and I would like to listen to all this, or to get some exposure. So thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you. Welcome. Suvrat, could you also introduce yourself?
Hello guys, so this is Subrat here, and this is my first meeting here in Toastmasters in this club or elsewhere, and I've come here to just to get to used to the idea to what Toastmasters is and how the meetings are going on, and till what I've seen, it's pretty good, and looking forward to be a part of this club soon.
Thank you, Suvrat. Thank you so much. Okay. So now it's time to introduce our Toastmaster of the day, who is young and very energetic. Ruchita, I would like you to take the stage and start the meeting.
Thank you, Kapil. Thank you very much. Personally, I'm very fond of strawberries and cream, but I have found that for some strange reason, fish prefers warm. This was said by Dale Carnegie once. Well, what it really means is no matter how well you think of an idea, what matters is what customer wants. Let me share my story with you. Once I was working on a program where the objective was to create a golden source of reference data. Now, for those who are thinking, what is golden source? It is basically a copy of truth. We were collating all the data and it has to be truth at any point of time. It was basically for the complete bank transactions to be carried out from that particular source of information. Now, at the end of 14 months, when we were ready to deliver it to our client said, no, I'm not ready to accept it. It was I was very upset with it. And when we said that it was all well communicated and we worked as per timeline, the answer was still no. It was then when I called my senior manager and asked him, can we not still continue with the delivery? If they don't want to use it, it's their choice. My manager told me that just consider your project as a pudding. What if you have created the best pudding, but no one eats it? Well, there was a lesson for me. Remember that what worked in the past may not work today. Remember, your customer is changing, their problems are changing. So, it is important for us to understand how to adapt so that we can still be relevant. That, in a nutshell, is the aim of Agile methodology, our theme for today, which help us meet the customer needs. Good morning, everyone. Mr. Presiding Officer, fellow Toastmasters, and could be, would be, should be Toastmasters. I am Ruchita Malik, Toastmaster of the Day, and I welcome you all to the 523rd meeting of Blue Quest Toastmaster Club. Emerging Trends in 2021 says that Agile methodology is expected to gain popularity across sectors. It is not specific to IT, and it is very well applicable in your personal as well as professional life, be you are from manufacturing or from HR or from IT, no matter what. Well, we are going to talk about we, we we are going to talk about Scrum, which is one of the agile methodology today. But why Scrum? Because Scrum is 5 times more popular than other techniques. Well, before I go into the details of what Scrum is, let me explain you the structure of Toastmaster meeting, which is in line with the 3 main forms of agile approaches, which is Scrum, Kanban, and Lean. So here we have 3 sections of Toastmaster meeting: prepared speeches, where speakers prepare their speeches in advance and deliver their prepared speeches. Today we have 3 prepared speakers. Then we have a table topic where guests and Toastmasters who have got a chance to speak, who have not got a chance to speak throughout the meeting, are invited on the virtual stage to speak off the cuff. Last but not the least, we have the most important section of this meeting, which is the evaluation section, where our evaluators will let us know what went well and what can be improved. Today, our Vice President Education, Joyita Bhattacharya, is going to run Sprint Retrospective. That is, she's playing the role of a journal evaluator, which is her chance to share with us what went well and what could be improved. As a journal evaluator, she's going to evaluate meeting on various parameters like planning, preparation, organization, and time management. Fellow Toastmasters, please welcome Joyita Bhattacharya. Joyita, over to you.
Thank you so much, Madam Timur, today. In agile methodology, the main benefit that I love most, that is to improve the moral of the individuals, to focus on the continuous improvement. So this section that I'm going to lead today, that is related to the evaluation. So in evaluation, we will start with the the speech evaluators who will help us to understand that where we need to improve. Then I have 3 tag team members with me. So I will invite one by one uh, to help us to understand that what is going to happen here. So I'd like to request Timer to please come up on the stage and explain your role first.
Hi guys, this is Amit Tandon here. I'm the timer for today. Basically, what my role would be to ensure that the meeting, that all the speeches happen on time along with the table topics. So I'll be putting up a green card when the initial start period for the meeting when the minimum amount of time that a particular speech should be conducted for gets over. Then I'll be putting up an intermediate yellow. And then once the stipulated time for a particular speech gets over, I'll be putting up a red card. we'll essentially have a grace period at the end of the red card as well. But it would be preferred that everyone tries completing their entire speech within the time frame of the green and the yellow card. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amit. Now I'd like to request our R counter today to explain her role.
Thank you so much, Madam General Evaluator. Good morning to all my fellow Toastmasters. I'm your accounter for today's meeting. As an accounter, I'll take note of all the ums, filler and crutch words, as well as short pauses, which we generally use in our speeches throughout the meeting. So that's my role for today. Over to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Payal. Now I'd like to request our grammarian for today. Please explain your role.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, today my role is to be a grammarian. I will be paying close attention to all the speakers, listening carefully to their language usage and taking note of any improper language. But I will also be looking for outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. With so many ways to say what we want, why be boring? Using one of the thousands of colorful words to paint a word picture worth remembering is something we ought to strive for. That is why we include the word of the day in our meetings, to build a repertoire of word tools. For today's meeting, the word is opulent, which means luxurious, sleek, affluent. Two examples in using this word would be as follows. We were afraid to sit in the chairs because they look so opulent. The hotel's opulent facilities include 4 gourmet restaurants, a movie theater, and an indoor tennis court. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day, and I will be looking to see how many times it is used throughout the meeting. So make sure you use opulent. I will give my grammarian's report at the end of the meeting when called upon. Thank you so much, and over to you, General Evaluator, Madam Joyetta.
Thank you so much, Sheila, for a lovely introduction of yourself. Now, I'd like to hand over the stage to our Madam Timor today. I'll come back with my report at the end of this meeting. Thank you so much. Over to you, Ruchita.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to our prepared speeches section. So the key part of our agile team is a development team. Do you know that a development team are self-organizing? When I say self-organizing, what I really mean is that they take accountability, just like our prepared speakers who are now going to present a high quality speech to all of us. Moving on to the before I move on to our first prepared speech, I would like to call on stage our first evaluator, who is Anshu, to read out the speech objectives.
Good morning, everyone. Khushbu's speech objective is, the purpose of this project is for the member to practice the skills needed to connect with an unfamiliar audience. The member completing this project is practicing the skills needed to connect with an unfamiliar audience. To do this, the member presents a topic that is new or unfamiliar to the club members. Timer, please note the speech length is 5 to 7 minutes and the title of the speech is Hustle Bustle. All the best, Khushbu. Over to you, Ruchita.
Thank you, Anshu. While I was talking to our first speaker, she told me that for her, agile is that she is mentally and physically agile. Well, this is true for most of us. Let's go to our first speaker, Khushbu Chokhani. Khushbu Chokhani, it's Hustle Bustle, Khushbu Chokhani. Over to you, Khushbu.
Thank you, Ruchita. Thank you, Anshu. Okay, so today I will ensure that I maintain time to the best of my abilities. Good morning, everyone. How many of you buy or take every compliment, every feedback, every opinion that you receive for yourself? Please raise your hand. Seriously. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we all buy. And it has been a conditioning. It is a social conditioning where we buy all the stories that we hear about ourselves. Oh, you are fat. Oh, you really talk a lot. Please pace down. Don't interrupt in the middle. Wait. Okay, listen, don't eat with your mouth open. Sit down and drink water. You really don't know how to walk. Come on, walk properly. Calm down. You are really agitated. How many of you have received these kinds of feedback? One. And you have actually taken these feedback about yourself. You have accepted them that yes, you are like that. One. And those who have not, okay, those who have not taken, I really applaud for you. But those who have taken, let me share a story with you, which I have created during my workshop with one of my greatest mentors of India during the art of creating folk tales using Panchatantra, which is a popular Indian literature using animals as metaphors. And in this story, there is a monkey called Masti. And one day, Masti was climbing up the tree. Oh, okay, you can't catch me. Pace down, slow it. This is Masti, the hustle bustle maker of her village, the most cutest and the most amazing monkey, whose sound, whose voice, whose chattering just brings a smile on everybody's face. One day, Masti got married to a monkey who comes from a mango orchard, the richest mango orchard in the village. She enters her house, the new house. It is her first day. And she was surprised to see all the mango trees with the mangoes hanging. And she was just wondering, when will I get that mango to eat? That juicy, pulpy mango. She was only dreaming about the mangoes. Suddenly she saw her mother-in-law coming. And the mother-in-law monkey, she came, she welcomed her and she asked her, okay, little girl, go to the branch, that branch of the tree, that is your and your husband's room, and you go and sleep there. Masti, using her skills, using her true nature, she just climbed up and she went off to sleep. Next morning, she got up early. She thought, oh, today is my first day, I better be the best daughter-in-law. She got up early in the morning, she plucked up all the mangoes and she gathered them in a heap in between the trees. And she thought that my family members will get up and they will have them for breakfast. And the moment her mother-in-law stepped down, she saw the heap. What is this? Don't you know we don't eat like this? We use the twig, the knife, okay? The knife made from the twig. We cut the mangoes, we peel them, and we eat on proper plates. And we use the fork made from the twig and we eat them. Masti didn't have anything to say. Okay, she saw her husband, her brother-in-law, her father-in-law, everybody sitting in a row, eating properly. When her mother-in-law asked her, Masti, okay, now it's time for you also to eat breakfast. She quickly took up the mango. Oh! And she ate and then her mother-in-law. We don't eat like this. You better learn how to eat. You don't eat like this? But I've been eating like this since childhood. We eat like this only. This is how we behave. And this is how her process of getting every day a new feedback about how she walks, how she dresses, how she speaks began. Slowly, the hustle and bustle maker of the whole village turned into a silent monkey. This was her regular appearance. Soon tears were dried up. One day she was sitting near to a river and she was wondering what to do. Suddenly, tears started rolling out of her eyes. She just couldn't control. She spotted a wise owl. The owl. She looked at the owl and she asked, You have seen me since childhood. Why can't you tell me what to do? I don't know how to eat. I don't know how to sleep. I don't know how to talk. I don't know how to walk. I know nothing. What should I do? Now my hands are shivering. What should I do? I am no more myself. The owl said, just listen to yourself. What you said right now. What I said. Just listen to yourself. Can you repeat again? Masti, what you said right now to me. She repeated the same affirmations, the negative feedbacks about herself. Owl said, do you believe you are like that? If yes, then it's okay. Accept it. Why you are crying? If you feel, if it's not okay, then why are you buying it? Why are you buying it? Masti started meeting the monkey every day. She started talking with the monkey every day, and every day she could grow from one phase to another. Her level of acceptance, her problem increased to correcting the problem. Because first comes the awareness, then acceptance, and then correcting the problem. Slowly, Masti got healed, though she couldn't go back to the original hustle bustle maker. But now she was much stronger. She was much confident. She was much more empowered. With this, my dear friends, I would like to leave you with certain questions. Today, for the first time, for my speech, I don't have any call to action for you. I just want you to take out your pen or a paper if you want and think about these questions. Do you buy every story about yourself? Do you suffer from inferiority complex? Do you have that awareness? Do you have that acceptance? Where is your lacunae? Or you give everybody the power to take away your soul? Where are you? Who are you? And where do you wish to go? Thank you. Over to you, evaluator.
Thank you, Khushbu. Really food for thought. Your speech has given us a lot of questions to think about and act accordingly. Thank you so much for a wonderful speech. Before I move on to the next evaluator for our next prepared speech, I would like to talk about the principles of Agile, which are very well as per what we select on our paths to pathways. So like talking about Agile and not talking about principle is like the discussion will not be complete. So the principles of Agile allow us to stick to what Agile says, like what is Agile all about, similar to the pathways path, where our evaluator makes sure that we are following our objectives. As we move on to our second speech, I would like to call upon our next evaluator, Alyssa. Alyssa, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the morning. I will be evaluating Avjinder's speech titled It's Cool. And the purpose of this project is for the member to practice the skills needed to connect with an unfamiliar audience. The way that Avjinder is going to do this is by presenting a topic that is new or unfamiliar to club members and explaining in a simple way which allows him to connect with each of his hearers. Having said that, back over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Alyssa. Well, Avjinder mentioned to me that Agile is a life tool to effectively manage complex tasks in life or corporate world. I think he rightly summed up Agile for all of us. Avjinder is presenting his level 3 project 2, Connect with Audience Avjinder Singh Connect with Audience.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Ruchika. Hello, Toastmasters and fellow guests. Apart from this word, hello, other word that makes the mark in our vocabulary on a day-to-day basis is cool. It's hip, it's groovy, and it's out of this world. And I'm not restricting it to just English language word cool, but in other languages also, there are standard variations of this word, which are commonly seen. In English, for example, let's say the background which Joyita has looks pretty cool. There's opulent, cool red in the shades of, the dresses that Gayatri wears. And the jersey that Surendra sir is wearing looks pretty cool. So this word is something that we use on a daily basis. Let me take up some opinion from the members here. So let me start with, let me ask you a question about, are there any other variations that you would like to share with us in other languages other than English? Let me start with Kapil.
Cool. So I guess that if someone asks me that, Kapil, how are you? So probably in Punjabi, I may say can't. Can't is a Punjabi word. You must be knowing it.
Yeah, that's a wonderful word. Gayatri, how about you?
Lai bhari.
Lai bhari.
Lai bhari.
Lai bhari. Wow, that's really cool. Any other, Joyita?
Even if we don't like something, but we have to tell this that it is good. So we generally say, "Acha theek ache."
Theek ache. That's wonderful. So I get to hear a lot of new words which are synonymous with cool in other languages. Let me share some variations here of this word cool. Like, for example, in Italian, the word fico is something which we use pretty commonly. And I really like in Spanish, there are a lot of variations, and it all depends. It's not just related to the language. It's from each and every country that you get this word in a different manner. And what I really like is something they use in Puerto Rico, which is cufeo, which is coming from the word goofy. It's pretty cool, isn't it? So I'm just struggling here to unshare my screen. All right. So this word coolness is about attitude. It's about behavior and style, which is generally admired. And because of the varied and changing connotations, it has never been a standard word. It doesn't have a single meaning. Although commonly regarded as a slang, it is widely used in various social groups and in various languages, as we have seen here. Unlike all other words which have come and gone, like sway, cool has remained relevant to this state. So how did it manage to do this trick? How did it stay so cool? Cool has a meaning beyond moderately low temperature from the beginning. And from the early days of English, it was widely used to mark anyone who has a controlled and a calm attitude and without passion. It is in contrast to the emotions which are hot or red. So over the centuries, there have been various shades of this word which have been used, like cool-headed, like our Surendra sir, is something which is showing deliberate judgment and restraint. Or it could also mean a cool heart, which is a negative connotation, which is unfriendly or cruel. So as you can see, there are a lot of variations that we see in cool these days. The phrase like cool as a cucumber showed up as a self-processed and unruffled. Even Shakespeare used this term in some of his plays like A Summer Midnight's Dream and Hamlet. Another sense came up in 18th centuries, which was related to unruly kids in schools, a cocky head, like cool as a fish. But its evolution continued. Over the 20th century, it was associated with the music scene of jazz in Americas, where they used either the cool jazz or the hot jazz to describe the two variations of the jazz music. In the mid-century, mid-20th century, it rose into a different connotation, where cool was used for defining self-contained or stylish. Every teenager wanted to be cool at that point of time. Herald Press showed up that to be cool is a desire of every teenager, because all the teenagers looked at each other and wanted to be cool at that point of time. The word managed to keep itself relevant to this state. And currently, there are a lot of variations that have come into the picture. Cool, there are a lot of new songs or a lot of songs that have come into the picture, which has made this a really cool thing. For example, the cool hits by Jonas Brothers, Dua Lipa, and in the past decade, Cool by Gwen Stefani. These are some of the relevant things that has happened to the cool. Cool is no longer a slang; it's part of today's linguistic culture, and we are cool about it. We use it every day to define the characteristics of a person, an affirmation of something that we want to do, or something that really catches up our fancy. Like, wow, that's really cool. It's not cool to go beyond the timelines here, as I can see the red card. So I would say that I will close it here, and it's cool with everyone. I hope you have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Abjinder, for enriching our knowledge and adding new words to our vocabulary. Thank you so much for your speech. Well, moving on to the last prepared speech of this section, I would like to call upon the next speech evaluator, Mr. Surendra Bhaumik, on the virtual stage to read out the speech objectives. Surendra.
Surendra, you're on mute.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Toastmaster. It's really a privilege to be able to evaluate Gayatri on the second feedback on the speech that she's going to make for level 1 under the evaluation and feedback section. The purpose of this speech will be for the member to present a speech on any topic, receive the feedback and apply the feedback to her speech that she's going to deliver. And it would demonstrate that she has applied the feedback received from her evaluator in the previous speech, where she had to spend more time on the conclusion, and her expressions would be in sync with the content of a speech. These were the two feedbacks which came in, and I hope Gayatri will be able to incorporate them into her speech today. All the very best. And over to you, Madam TMOD.
Thank you, Surendra Bhaumik. Well, our next speaker, Gayatri Deshmukh, when I was talking to her, she told me that agile is a new term for her. I hope this meeting will be useful for her to understand and have her own perspective on agile. We will move on to Gayatri now for her speech. Gayatri is doing level 1 project 2. Her speech is, "My father taught me to be shameless and careless." Gayatri Deshmukh, "My father taught me to be shameless and careless." Over to you, Gayatri.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests, it was the year 2009. I was on the top of the world because I had started out as a reporter with the #1 newspaper in country. And it was just the beginning of my career. I was at home preparing to go to my college, and my mother received a phone call. Immediately after that phone call, my mother was completely restless. She was pacing up and down. I did not understand what was happening. I ignored and I started to leave. That's when she stopped me. "Gayatri, you're not going anywhere." I was like, "Why?" "Your father has created enough troubles for the day. I don't want any more troubles." "What happened?" I asked. To that, she told me that my father had gone on some business. Well, he's a government servant, so what his business is the government business. And this time that business was connected to land acquisition in a particular village, wherein my father had gone to speak to the villagers and explain the government policies and how they were going to benefit them. Except that this time villagers had a different plan for him. About 750 villagers had gathered over there to, well, burn him alive. And just 2 months before this particular incident, one government official was actually burnt alive. So my mother was quite understandably scared, upset, and unsure about what was happening next. But the reporter in me gave an immediate reaction. "Mom, that's the front page news." To that, my mother looked at me and she was like, "If you make a single phone call, you will be the front page news tomorrow." I yielded. I did not make a single phone call, but my assessment was not wrong, because within the next few minutes, there we were watching my father live on television. Garland of shoes around his neck, 750 people gathered around him with kerosene and matchbox. The only thing that was holding these people from burning my father were the reporters, because reporters had struck a deal with them. Let us interview them and then do what you want. For next 1 hour, on various channels, my father was giving exclusive interviews with those garland of shoes around his neck. My father was accompanied by one of his friends. Everyone was scared. What happens next? What happens next? But well, he came back alive. That was not a problem. People, of course, gathered in our house to make sure that he was fine. His friend, on the other hand, went into complete isolation. His wife shut the doors for next few days. They did not want to talk to anyone. He wanted his own peace of mind. My father, on the other hand, gave details of every moment of that particular episode to every person who came home to see his well-being. About 100 people visited, and about 100 times my father told that story in detail. The following day, his photo was flashed across all the newspapers with a garland of shoes around his neck. It was around this time that the photographs of those episodes were on the papers. So everyone insisted, my father, that now you should file a police complaint. My father said, no. Those people behaved out of ignorance. I'm not going to file any police complaint. So now his superiors were in a fix. Because my father was not in the wrong, they couldn't suspend him, but they couldn't let him work either because, well, he had not filed an official complaint. So they came to a negotiation. They told my father, we are not going to suspend you, but you act as if we have suspended you. So you come to office, but you won't be working. For any other man, it would have been like going to office for 3 months and not working, like an insult. But my father is made of a different material. The first thing he did was open the games room, arrange for the carom board, and for next few days, weeks, he was playing carom. And it was the time when people started saying, what a shameless man he is. He has been told not to work and he's playing carom all day long. My father had just started dreaming about representing India at Carom Olympics, which is when he realized that he first needs to find out whether Carom is an Olympics game or not. But alas, his dream of representing India in Olympics did not work because just when he was getting good at that game, he was transferred to a higher position in another city. Just before he was leaving, a well-wisher came and just said to him that, now that it has been some time, I wanted to ask you, when you were giving those interviews, why were you giving everyone separate interview for 1 hour? To that, my father said, well, actually the thing is that they were going to keep us alive only until the interviews were going on. Help was not going to arrive for 1 hour. So I had to make sure that I was talking for 1 hour so that we were alive for 1 hour until the help arrives. Makes sense. Hey, good of you, to be in position to speak under so much duress. But tell me one thing, why didn't you not take off that garland of shoes when you were delivering the interviews? To that, my father confessed that I had removed it, but then the reporter told me that if I wear the garland around my neck, it will be good for the viewers to see. My mother heard that from kitchen. She came out shouting, I have been telling you so many things for past 20 years. You did not listen to anything. That outside person asked you to wear a garland of shoes and you wear it immediately. What kind of a man are you? I guess all the married men over here will empathize with my father. And with that conversation, everything in my house was back to normal. Everyone was out of that stress. Within next few weeks, my father was brought in as the commissioner of this area because nobody else could solve the problems. He came in as the commissioner and the people who had come to burn him were now coming to him to help them. And I'm glad to say that my father did help them. I was just coming to terms with this entire episode. Well, it hurts when somebody outside is calling your father a shameless man. It doesn't really feel good. So I went and I sought solace with a monk. I told him that everyone is saying this and everyone is saying that. To that monk tells me, Gayatri, your father is not just shameless, he's also careless. I was like, okay, explain. To that Swamiji said to me, Gayatri, your father is a perfect example of what Bhagavan Shri Krishna talks about in Bhagavad Gita. Shame is a social concept. And your father has never really bothered about what society thinks. He has always done things that needed to be done. And he's careless because he never did anything to gain approval of the society.
and therefore society's disapproval means nothing for him. So your father is shameless and careless. You should learn it from him. It took me some time, but today I am shameless and careless, just like my father taught me. And I would urge you all to be shameless and careless because it makes you a happy person. Thank you so much. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Gayatri. It was really a very good speech in terms of a lot of learning involved on how we can handle the difficult situation with so much calm and passion. And yeah, okay. So we have polls on the screen. I would request everybody to please select the best speaker. Okay, can we move on? Okay, sure. So when we practice Agile in our day-to-day life, it is expected to bring continuous value at a sustainable pace while adapting to the changing needs of the business. I know by now you must have guessed we are moving on to the next section of our meeting, which is table topics. One of the key role in Scrum is that of a product owner, person who defines and prioritize what team needs to do in upcoming sprint. With this, I hand over to Mr. Raj Mehta, who is our table topic master. And I also encourage each one of you to participate in this, in the table topics, just to bring a continuous value to your professional goals. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Raj Mehta.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Now is the time for you to speak example. That is the table topic session. The objectives of this session is to make a person comfortable in a situation in which he or she might have felt on all of a sudden, or maybe the situation is such that he was not expecting to speak something which he has been asked to all of a sudden. The members from the audience, that is the members from the club, as well as the guests, would be invited for speaking for 1 to 2 minutes on a topic or a situation which I shall be giving to them. And the best application of this session is to learn how to speak in speaking in extempore, and then apply that learning to your real-time happenings. I would first be giving the chance to the people who do not have any speaking role in the meeting. So may I request Kathy Shine if she is willing to take part in the table topic session. Kathy, okay. Kathy, your situation is that one of your team members is not regular. Talk to him or her and manage the situation. One of your team members is not regular. Talk to him or her and manage the situation. Kathy.
If I understand the question correctly, one of my team members is underperforming. Is that correct?
Not regular.
Not regular in any way.
Coming late to office, taking frequent leaves, that sort of a thing, Kathy.
Okay, so in our community here, we do a lot of nonprofit work. So the salaries are relatively low. And one of the features that they talk about quite highly is being prompt, being reliable, being dependable, because all of the community work that we do is impacted by our behaviors. Rather than doing some type of a reprimand or being critical of means. For example, we do a lot of work on literacy issues with some of the inner city school children. And in order to elevate the students' school performance, we need to have the mentors in the classrooms or in the libraries in a prompt time to allow as many children in to have one-on-one reading time with their adult mentors. If an adult mentor is absent, that means that 2 to 3 children every 20 minutes cannot get the one-on-one training that they need, which ultimately then affects their school performance. So we try to focus on the value of the work that we're doing, trying to reinforce the community impact, and then obviously then encourage that individual to offer different ideas to help them overcome what their challenge might be. If they understand the true value, they will make the effort. But if there is something unique to the situation, for example, COVID-19 has hit our community quite hard, then maybe we need to make an accommodation, but then we need to have a plan in place. So we do a 2-tiered approach, making sure they understand community impact and then asking them for participation. That way they also feel like they are being valued and honored. And that's the way that we would approach it in our community. Thanks for asking.
Thank you, Kathy. In the meantime, I would request all the speakers to pin timer at the time when they're speaking. Okay. Calling for the next candidate, may I request Joyte Joshi to take up the next topic. Joshi? Okay, thank you. May I call you Joyte Joshi, MacP. Which one is right? Joyte, topic for you is that one of your family members has met an accident and is in a hospital. And your boss has ordered you to come to the office immediately. Manage the situation.
If I understand correctly, if one of my family members is in the hospital,
yeah,
and my supervisor or manager asks me to be in the office,
yeah, immediately.
Immediately. Mr. Table Topic is a great question. Because I was born and raised in Mexico, family is first. I will go and visit my relative first in the hospital and see how he or she is doing. And if I can, if I notice that everything was under control, I will go back to the office and report to my manager. But if my family needs me, my family will be much more important than any job or any money people can pay me. Mr. Table Topic, thank you for your question.
Thank you, Joy. May I now request Sharman for take up the next topic. Sharman. Sharman, are you willing to take up the next topic? No. May I now request Ashok Sharma. I don't know whether he is a guest or member. Ashok?
Yeah, Raj, I'm here.
Hi, Ashok. Ashok, topic for you is that your bus or metro to office has just arrived, but your girlfriend is asking you to miss the office. Manage the situation.
Okay. First of all, thank you. Thanks to you, Raj, choosing me for speaking on this topic, and as it's a Valentine week, so this is a very relevant point you came up with. Although my wife is around, and I will take her in consideration when answering the question. So I would like to take it from where Jyoti left it in her table topic, that for me also it's no brainer. For me, family and relationship comes first, and professional things comes later on. So definitely I will go with the advice of my wife slash girlfriend, and that ways I would like to go ahead. Although in the movies, especially in Bollywood movies, we have seen that duty and that all comes first, and there are certain roles and responsibilities, people in army or people who are surgeon or people who are in certain roles where they work in life critical projects. Definitely they should keep their relationships aside and they should follow their duty. I don't know, I'm lucky or unlucky, but I am not working in a job which is that critical. So definitely I can put that aside and nurture my relationship. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashok. May I now request Ruchita? Okay, you are already doing that. Okay, then Kapil. Kapil?
Yes, Raj. Yeah.
Okay, Kapil. Your, your cleaner has not come to the office today, and you ask your team members to clean the office before starting their work.
Raj, first of all, this is against my principle, so probably I will not ask my cleaner to clean my office. Rather, if the cleaner is not available, I myself pick up. I myself will pick up the broom and clean the office, because that is how your team members learn. So if your manager is doing some job, then probably they will look up to you and they will like to imbibe those skills in themselves. So I will set an example that if something is not available, as a manager, as a team leader, I will first need to take the challenge myself and solve that critical situation, and then probably I will ask my and then probably they in future they will themselves volunteer for the task. So I would say that I would not ask them to clean, rather I will take the job myself. Thank you, Raj. Over to you.
Thank you, Kapil. May I request Payal? Payal, are you there?
Yeah. Good morning, Toastmaster Raj. Am I audible? Just an audio.
Yeah, you are audible. Ask one of your team members to lead the team to a client. Okay. Ask one of your team members to lead the team to a client visit for the first time. So that this person shall be leading the team for the first time, and you have to encourage him or her.
Okay. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Raj Mehta. Yes, it would be a great opportunity to ask someone to lead the team, and the major motivational points which I might give to him would be like, over the years, the kind of work he has done in office will be the one motivation I will surely put across to him, so that he agrees to do the job as you mentioned. And I would also speak to him about the benefits the company will have if he leads the team, owing to his experience in work in the company. And And since the person whom I would choose to lead the team will have some managerial and leadership qualities, and so I would emphasize on both of these so that he gets motivated to agree to that kind of a job. So I guess motivation in all forms, be it work experience, leadership and managerial qualities, I think I'll take all in, I'll put all these points together, and maybe that's a way I can motivate someone to lead the team. That's all from my side. Over to you, Toastmaster Raj Mehta.
Thank you, Toastmaster Fire. May I request Alice and Crown if she would like to take the next topic. Alice, thank you.
What you want me to do?
Thank you, Alice.
I'm sorry, I
topic for you.
didn't hear you. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So Alice, topic for you is, you forgot to bring your spectacles to the office, and your boss has asked you to read a letter to him. You forgot to bring your spectacles to the office, and your boss has asked to read a letter to him. Manage this situation.
Okay, my brother sent me a letter to my office, and I have to read it to my boss. Is that what you said?
Yeah, you have to read a letter to your boss, but you have forgotten your spectacles at home.
Okay. Reading a letter to my boss. Okay. Alice Ann, where have you been? I missed you. What are you doing with yourself? Seems like you fell off the face of the earth. You need to contact your family. We all missed you. We've all been asking about you. I hope this letter finds you well. Please call us, write me back, email me, text me, something so we'll know what happened to you. You moved far away and we don't know where you moved. Come back, reach out. We missed you. P.S. We still mad. That's it.
Thank you, Alice. With this, we come to the end of this session, and I give it to the Toastmaster of the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Table Topic Master. I think it was a good bunch of speeches and a lot of things for us to think about. We have best table topic speakers poll on the screen. I request you all to please participate. I hope everybody is done. So this ends the second section of the meeting, which is table topics. And now, well, if I have to sum up Agile, or if I have to let you know that if you want to apply Agile, then the best way to do is to start small and start introducing in your professional and personal life only one Agile practice, and let it be retrospective. Everything else will follow. So with that, we move on to the third section of our speech, and I'll be handing over to Joyita for our journal evaluator to conduct this sprint retrospective. Handing over to you, Joyita. Please come on the virtual stage and let us know how we did and what we can improve going forward.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Now, team, we will start the retrospective of this meeting today, that where we went well, where we need to improve, and if there is any impediment or not. Well, there is no impediment. It is very smooth meeting, and the way Ruchita conducted this meeting, this is kudos to you, Ruchita. Now, first, I would like to request Anshu to come over the virtual stage to evaluate the speech delivered by Khushbu. Over to you, Anshu.
Yeah, hi Khushbu. I loved your speech. Khushbu, you are a craftsman of words and a great storyteller with whom any kid will fall in love with. I'm sure my kids will like you very much if you narrate these kind of stories to them. Three things which I liked about your speech are you were very energetic, involved, expressive, your hand gestures, your vocal variety, your facial expressions, all were awesome. Number two, the connect with the audience. You have done a fabulous job in connecting with the audience by asking the questions in the beginning and at the end. And this is one of the best way to keep the audience engaging. The third one is the message. You are able to convey a message that we we can that it is not necessary to buy all the feedbacks every time. So this was a fantastic message which we got today. I had a lovely time listening to your speech, but now let us see how we can do how you can take this speech from good to great. So number one, breath control. Towards the end and the middle, I felt that you have some difficulty in controlling your breath. Your story inspires just that if you your story was so inspiring, but just that if you work on a breath control and a little bit cautious about your over excessive use of body language at some places. Khushbu, your speech objective was to present an unfamiliar topic, but I feel, and probably the audience also felt, that this topic was familiar to everybody. And the second objective was to keep the audience engaging, and this objective was clearly met. In summation, you are a wonderful storyteller. You have great expressions. Your story was inspiring. Speech had a great message. An audience would like to hear more such stories from you in the future. Congratulations, Khushbu, and all the best. And take care. Thank you.
Just Ocean. I really love the way you have evaluated the speech for Khushbu. Now I'd like to request our next evaluator, Elisa, to evaluate the speech delivered by Avjinder. Hi, Elisa, over to you.
Thank you so much, Joyeta. Avjinder, the 8 laws of learning are explanation, demonstration, imitation, repetition, 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 repetition. John Wooden said this. And I felt like in your speech, it's cool. You've met the objectives of your speech because you connected with the audience on an unfamiliar topic, talking about the word cool. Now, technically, there are some people who might know this topic, but you went in depth with it and you presented information that even I, having used the word all my life, did not know about the word it's cool. I absolutely loved how you organized your speech, how you had audience participation, how you selected different members of the audience to use the word cool with them. And then afterwards, you gave us a little bit of history. So I really loved how you organized it. It was very methodical. It was easy to follow along. I was watching the audience and they were definitely with you. I also love just, again, how you incorporate the word cool constantly throughout so that it was easy to follow you. and the fact that you had a visual to share, speaking about how other cultures use the word cool in their language. So it was very interactive. It was very interesting, very captivating. And I do like that you mentioned Puerto Rico. So good job with that. Another thing that I appreciated was just how much research you put into it. It was obvious, it was evident that you really went all the way. I mean, you had a lot of information there, like I said, that even I had not heard about this word. And I just thought overall you did a fantastic, fantastic job. In terms of some recommendations, I would say if you could position the camera angle so that we can see your hands, it's going to really add to your presentation because it's going to help the audience to pay attention to your message and what you're bringing across. Also, it did feel like there was a possibility that you were reading your speech, and I know that you presented a lot of information. So if there's any way possible that you have even just a short sentence or just keywords on a screen to help you remember, then by practicing continually and staying with those keywords, you'll know it better. And then you'll be able to connect better with the audience as you look directly into the camera. If you have all this information noted and all set. One other recommendation might be to just include, if you had one visual, maybe include a few more when you speak about the history of the word it's cool. And once again, anything that's not only audible but visible will help the audience to connect and remember the information that you're presenting. In conclusion, I thought it was an absolutely fantastic speech. I loved it. Like I said, I was watching the audience faces and they were definitely listening there with you. And I think that we've all learned a little bit more about the word cool. So I think that's absolutely fantastic. And like I said, the 8 laws of learning are explanation, demonstration, imitation, repetition, 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 repetition. Thank you so much for making such a great effort to connect with us and present a topic that was unfamiliar. Over to you, Joyeta.
Thank you so much, Alicia, for lovely way you explained the evaluation of Avjinder's speech. Thank you so much. So now let's move on to our third speaker, third evaluator, Shaurjinder Bhomik, who is going to evaluate Gayatri's speech. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, Toastmaster Joyita. Oh, you know, today I remembered Joe Root, the captain of the English cricket team, and the way he hammered the Indian bowling. This was a power-packed performance, a speech where every moment I kept thinking that that newspaper reporter in you is so much alive. Every moment, the way you told this story, which was really something which was always very, very close to your heart, I'm sure, because your father was under so much of stress. And again, borrowing from Avi's speech, his coolness won the day for him. The way you were able to explain how he moved out of that 1 hour of stress by splitting every speech or every interview with every different reporters was very well articulated by you. As I said, very high powered, but I thought the great part of this whole was your story and how your father was able to maintain his calm and going through the various requirements of your project. You were able to meet everything by following whatever recommendations were given in your past speeches and incorporating them into your speech today. You emoted all the emotions in your speech, and I thought that you were able to articulate very well the emotions and the feelings that all of you in the family went through when this incident was happening. If I have to make a couple of recommendations, I would like to point out a few times when you were before you were moving your hands. Clamping your hands sometimes gives the feeling to the audience that you're not being able to think what you would like to say next, which was not what was actually happening today. There's only one expression which I would like to point out, which you need to work on, is when you were talking about your father almost being burnt alive, your face was still smiling. Please avoid that and emote the feelings which come from the bottom of your heart to be able to make your speech more powerful. But thank you for this very, very powerful speech, which was excellent. Thank you so much. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Narendra sir, for excellent way of delivering this evaluation. So now I'd like to request all my tag team members to be ready to present your report. First, I will start with Amit, our timer today.
Hello. Am I?
Yes, you are. Yeah.
So today we had all of our speeches which were running overtime or almost overtime. Gayatri took about 2 minutes extra, Khushbu took about 1.5 extra minutes, and Avjinder took a few more seconds than what the stipulated time was. In terms of the table topics, we had none of the table topics that went into extra time, but a lot of table topics finished even before the 1 minute mark. Alicine, Kapil, and Jyoti, all of their table topics finished before the 1 minute mark. So that is something that probably needs to be worked on. And the evaluations went fine with the exception of Saurendra sir, wherein he took about 4 minutes to evaluate the speech, and rest everyone was on time. That would be from me. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Amit. Excellent way you have shared your report. Now I'd like to request our accountant today to present your report. Over to you, accountant. Payal.
Yep. Thank you so much, Madam Tosa, General Evaluator. Summarizing my report, I have some good news for Toastmaster Gayatri, Kathy, and Ashok, as they fared well on all the parameters for the accounts. That is that is accounts, filler, crutchwords, and short pauses. So big round of applause for all the three of them. Starting with Khushbu, who was our first speaker. Sorry. Starting with Khushbu, who was our first speaker for today's meeting. Khushbu had 0 arms, 0 filler and crutch words, and just 2 short pauses, which is again a big achievement. Then moving on to the next speaker, who's our Toastmaster of the day, Ruchika. Ruchika had more than 9 arms, 0 filler words, and 5 short pauses. Then we had our second speaker, Avjinder, who had a total of 5 R's and arms, 0 filler or crutch words, and 1 short pause. Then moving on to Saurendra sir. Saurendra sir had 3 R's and arms, 0 filler and short pauses. For the table topics, there were not many R's, arms of filler words, and short pauses used, except for Raj Mehta, who had around 4 to 5 R's and arms. That's all from my side as an counter of the day. Over to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Payal, for your detailed report here. Now I'd like to request our grammarian to present your report.
Thank you,
Sheila.
Madam General Evaluator. We had one use of the word opulent for today, so hopefully next week we can do better with including the word of the day. Avjender was the one who used opulent. Good job, and he included that on the fly into his speech, so good job. A few improper uses from various places. In one place, the connect with the audience would be the connection with the audience. In another case, photos went on the paper could be said photos went into the paper or photos showed up in the paper. Most cutest could be the cutest. Every day, a new feedback would be got feedback every day. Some information, I have a kitty, I'm sorry. Same information, same informations could be same information. Explain you could be explain to you. 2 feedbacks she received would be 2 pieces of feedback she received. And so much alive would be really alive. Some things that I thought were really great ways to say what you were trying to say. Mentally and physically agile, sustainable pace. Juicy, pulpy mango. I just love that. Do you give people the power to take your soul? What an excellent question. In contrast to the emotions, shades of the word. I don't hear that often, but I like that. Negative connotation, cool as a cucumber. Apply learning to real time. Craftsman of words. I love that phrase. 8 laws of learning. Very well articulated. First, take the challenge myself. And last but not least, reinforce community impact and overcome what their challenge is. There were many more, but that was just a sampling of tonight's great uses of words. Over to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Sheila, for wonderful way you have presented the grammarian report today. Now, team, I'm ready with my report. I will start when our meeting started today. So, okay, first of all, let's vote for the best speech evaluator. Okay, are you going to take a poll for the best role player? I mean,
We'll do that after your report finishes. We'll do that after that. The best auxiliary role player we'll do after that. And when the team hands over to the presiding officer, then we'll do the best role player.
Okay, fantastic. So let's start with today's meeting. When it was started at 8:33, almost on time, but it would be better if we can start at 8:30. So because today we knew about that agile methodology. So in agile, we are practicing coming on time and start our meeting on time. So this is kind of time boxing thing that we should learn and we should practice in Toastmaster as well. Now, next move on to our Toastmaster of the day, Ruchita. Ruchita, you have started with wonderful quote and you connected with the audience very nicely. And then you have taken the example of your lesson learned from your professional life. And throughout the speech, you tried to maintain that how you could take the example of Toastmaster meeting and you can tell that, okay, here we are practicing agile methodology. There's a nice way you have delivered this thing today. And also I would like to say one recommendation for you, that if you can just stay a little far from the camera, that would be helpful to us to understand your hand gesture. So just little bit of that you can work upon it. Now I'd like to talk about the TTM Table Topic Master Raj. So you came with wonderful situational topic, and people really enjoyed that, because they somehow those topics are connected with their day-to-day life, and all the members who participated in the table topic, they were very comfortable, and they delivered with confidence and smoothness. There was no such thing I have seen that, okay, they were not delivered the topic properly. So basically I'd like that table topic from Kapil, where from the simple situation he brought the topic, how you can set the example in front of your team. So I really like that one. Thank you, Kapil, for that. And Raj, one recommendation is here, that if we can make that question little shorter, then it would be helpful for others to understand, and to speak quickly on that particular topic. Now, let me talk about our evaluators. Anshu, first time I'm seeing that you are evaluating someone, but the confidence level is really commendable. You have organized your entire evaluation very nicely. You talk about the objectives that of what was delivered by the speaker, where the speaker did very good job. You pointed out, and then you mentioned the recommendation part, and I believe that recommendation will really help our speaker to improve for the next speech. And then at the end you summarized well what are all points you mentioned to the speaker. Very nicely articulated, Anshu. Now I would like to talk about Elisa. Elisa, you are wonderful. Whenever you are delivering your evaluation, I know that you are not evaluating the speech that just to deliver that, oh, okay, where are the things that you can improve, but I feel that you are observing the audience to understand that how audience are also engaged with that speech. I really like that thing that you have noted down. Only one thing I'd like to tell, that I was not able to see your hand gesture properly. Just adjust your camera so that it would be helpful for others as well. Now moving on to Sharanda sir. Sharanda sir, you have delivered the evaluation for Gayatri. I was thinking that where I could find out the recommendation part, but you managed to find out the recommendation from Gayatri's speech. That was really wonderful. So many lessons learned from your evaluation part, Sharanda sir. Now I'd like to talk about our auxiliary team players, that I would like to start with Amit. Amit, although you are very new in Toastmaster, but your confidence level and you were fully focused throughout the meeting, and you have shown the timer cards on time. That's really nice, and keep up your good work. Then I'd like to talk about Payal. Payal, yesterday you were not comfortable for taking this role, but today you have noted down all these improvement points in respect of the filler words. Thank you for that. Now, last but not the least, I'd like to talk about Sheila. Sheila, you have noted down all the good usages and the not so good usages of grammar today, and I think once we will go back and see the recording once again, we will note down those points and would use those points in our upcoming speeches. Thank you so much for that, Sheila. So now this is the end of my report. I'd like to hand over the stage to Ruchita. Thank you.
Thank you, Joyita. Very useful feedback. And as we say in Agile, that if you are not better next month, then you are no longer Agile. So it is just the way of improving our personal self as well as our professional work. Before I end, I would like to let you know another fact around Agile, and that is that February 2021 marks the 20th anniversary of a movement in the history of which is the Agile movement. So it was set up in Feb 2001. We have completed 20 years of Agile. And the main values around which Agile is formed are, to sum up, first is the individual interactions. The interactions in these meetings of Toastmasters are more important. Working software, which is specific to IT and is more important than comprehensive documentation. Customer collaboration, talking to customer, understanding their needs and changing your solution as per what customer needs is more important for Agile. And responding to change as we do, as we have already set an example, moving from a personal Toastmaster meeting to the virtual meetings as we are doing currently. So they are always preferred in Agile over and above the traditional ways of working. I hope the session was useful to us and I am able to help you with a little bit knowledge on Agile. Thank you for your participation, and I would like to hand it over to the presiding officer.
Yes. Thank you, Ruchita. All right. So what a wonderful meeting we had today. So I would like to take feedback from our guests about today's meeting. Jyoti, can we start with you first? Just want to ask how you felt about today's meeting. What else we can do to improve our meetings? Any feedback?
There was the first of all, thank you so much for inviting me and having me over as a visitor. I truly enjoy the meeting. I definitely can take a lot from this meeting to apply to myself. And in terms of how can you improve, I'm not the ideal person because I just joined Toastmasters like a month and a half ago. But definitely I learned a lot that I would like to bring to my home club and implemented some of the things that I got from you guys. Thank you for having me over.
Thank you, Josie. Thank you so much. Kathy, feedback from your end?
Yeah, it was an absolute pleasure to be with you this evening. I enjoyed the 3 speeches. I did have difficulty understanding some of the table topic questions, not just the one that was directed to me, but across the board. It seemed as though the language was breaking up. It might have been a microphone issue on my end, but it was unclear. Almost every question I had difficulty understanding. So when the general evaluator had offered the suggestion to maybe make the questions a little bit shorter, I think that would help in this type of a virtual environment. I appreciated the general evaluator's assessment across the board. I think that you guys are doing an amazing job. I love the idea that you have so many visitors. I'm so happy to have heard Gayatri. I first heard her back in December when she came to our club for the Speakathon. And it's really lovely to be part of this experience. I'll be recommending your club to a couple of other folks that I know who have relocated to the India area. And hopefully we can get you some new members. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Kathy. Alice? I don't see her now. Okay, anyway. Should we take up next week's role now? I know that Rupinder, you are performing T mod and Shorenji sir is performing GE role. Any speakers?
Let me stop the recording first.